कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। As we start our sadhana in the light of Indian traditional knowledge sources, we become very much acquainted with a popular word, yoga. It has become now a master keyword which can unlock many locked vistas, blocks, boxes. Yoga has become now panacea for all psychological, physiological problems. Yoga now harmonizes all bickerings, all bickering factors of the world. Here, when we listen to many lectures, we know multifarious meanings of this word yoga. Yungte iti yogaha. Such etymological analysis we understand, so our knowledge about yoga becomes deeper and deeper. Ultimately, it touches the core part of yoga. For every word, there will be an apparent, appearing, superficial meaning, and in the same time there will be its inherent, very comprehensive, insightful meaning of every word. That is the beauty of Sanskritam, words of Sanskritam. Sanskritam is not mere language. It is not only bhasha. It is called ati bhasha. Bhasha, language, just it is a vehicle for communication. We communicate through any language, our own language, vernacular language, regional language, so many such languages, they exist. Under the sun, we use them for communication, just to communicate our feelings and thoughts. That is fine. It has its own very important role in our day-to-day transactions. So we use language, it is very good. But Sanskrit got its own special role to play, because every word, it is originated from the divine source, Ishvara Prasada. So, people of highest caliber like Panini, Patanjali, they have given that type of divine touch to that language that it not only communicates with human brain, even it communicates to the cosmic brain. It is 33 divine centers, cosmic centers, according to the Upanishad. Trayastrimshat Devatah, 33 such cosmic centers. In other words, they are called 27 stars and Dwadasha, Rashi, Ashtadikpala, Navagraha, all these words are there. But they are all such words that they indicate cosmic rays. So in this context, Sanskrit word got its own special mood and modes. So yoga word also we have to understand in its real form. Etymologically we have to understand. So yoga, it is that factor which integrates everything, which harmonizes everything, which discards all type of dualities, ultimately leading to holistic approach, holistic insight. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. That is the key, master key formula, where individuality goes away and divinity, spirituality only dominates that whole. That factor, that activity, that thought process, that feeling, everything comes under yoga. Tam yogamiti manvate manyante sthiram indriya dharanam. This is a statement in Kathopanishad. Tam vidyat buddhi sanyoga vyogam yoga samvijnitam. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. It is sanyoga sometime, it is yoga sometime. These are antonyms, these two words in Sanskrit. Sanyoga, joining factor. Viyoga, separating factor. But yoga encompasses these two diverging factors. It looks to be something paradoxical, but it is not like that. Why? Because it discards darkness, negativity. In the same time, it brings that enlightenment and harmonizes all those different factors, brings everything under one Brahman umbrella. That is how Sanyoga and Viyoga. In Nyaya Shastra, Nyaya Sutra, one very important sutra is there. Dukkha janma pravritti dosha mithyajnananam uttarottarāpāye tadanantarāpāyāt apavargaha. Tattvajnānāt nishreya sadhikamaha. These are all very important aphorisms from Anmikshiki, Nyaya Vidya of our tradition. There for Sutrakara, he tells about how one can discard his inherent darkness, ajnana. It is by tattvajnana, the real understanding. Real understanding means what? It is understanding of Atma, Atmendriya, like that, apavargastu prameyam. These are all the main subject areas in our life we have to understand, starting from Atma, ending with apavarga. That is how he puts it. When we understand all these factors, then darkness disappears. As knowledge emerges, like that, ignorance becomes neutralized. That is how both Tattvajnana, as it goes up, like that, Ajnana comes down. In one point of time, there will be no place for Ajnana, ignorance. Only Tattvajnana emerges. When Tattvajnana, the real understanding emerges, naturally Mithyajnana, misunderstanding goes away. When misunderstanding goes away, then dosha goes. Dosha. Dosha, it is our own guna vaiparitya. Just now you were listening to slokas. Those slokas were dealing with the triguna. How these trigunas dance in our life system. So that cause many upheavals, many disturbances at psychic and physiological level. So that guna vaiparitya, fluctuation at three guna level, it causes many punya and papa. If sattva guna is more, we do good deeds. If rajas tamas combination dominates, naturally we succumb to many other unwanted negative consequences. So that there will be very big stock of karma. As punya karma will be increasing, like papa karma also increasing, you know. While doing even very good deeds also, there will be some touch of sin. We cannot perform any successful work without disturbing some element, some species, some creature. Naturally there will be some hitting while performing good deeds also. I am now talking, I am just sharing my very good thoughts embedded in the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. But in the same time, when I am communicating and talking, there are so many very, very minute insects and creatures. They are disturbed by my flow of air and thoughts. It is there. So, the punya and papa, every time they will be going on hand in hand. Really speaking, in terms of Adhyatma, Vedanta, punya and papa, they are upwards and reverse face of the same coin. Because karma also becomes a binding factor. Good deeds also consequently sometime bind us. They appear to be good things, but their result will be something negative. So this is karmana, gahana karmano gatihi. That is how Krishna puts it. Karmano gatihi gahana. What is good, what is bad? What is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma? This is very much highly puzzling thing. We have to be very, very accurate while understanding all these things. So in this context, there will be punya and papa. These punya and papa, again, they cause emergence of births and deaths, births, death, births, death, death, birth, death. So this rail movement will be continuous. We become embodied, again that body will be discarded. So that this janma marana, marana janma, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, that is how all this wheel, this will be rotating. So in this context, janma will be there, we get new bodies after one body is discarded. That is how endlessly this wheel will be moving. In this movement, there will be every time sukha dukkha. Papa punya, sukha dukkha, all these dualities will continue. This wheel will roll every time. In this particular chakra, in this wheel, we become cog. cog in the wheel, cog in the wheel. Like that we will lose our independence every time we will be in the cog of this wheel. So there will be dukkha every time. Sukha, dukkha will be there. So until we discard all these things, duality, sukha, dukkha, jaya, apajaya, jaya, parajaya, shita, ushna, punya, papa, all these dualities continue, they continue. So we become cog in the wheel. Then what to do? So that we have to go for yoga. Yoga takes us to that height. It makes us free from dukkha. Dukkha. You know, when something we do at root cause level, we can get some permanent remedy. If it is just a temporary relief, then there will be root of that disease continued. Again it causes some problem. That is how there will be disease after disease. There will be many side effects causing many type of sorrows. Endless rotation of this wheel continues. That is how it happens. That is why yoga, it makes us separated from this wheel. That is why viyoga. Viyoga means separation from this wheel. So makes us free from this wheel, makes us independent. So our movement will be afterwards unhindered movement. Viyoga and sanyoga, and it makes us one with that universal something, Paramatman, and it separates from this wheel of samsara and takes us to Paramatman. That is how both sanyoga and viyoga, separation and joining, both, though they appear paradoxical, they are achieved in this yoga marga. Sanyoga and viyoga, they are not different things. That is why yoga got this type of wonderful shades of meaning. It is viyoga, at the same time sanyoga. This type of yoga, when we go on practicing, we will be separated from this wheel of samsara, so that sukha will be more and dukkha will be less. Day will come that our mind becomes free from all traumas, free from all sattva-rajas-tamo-guna dance, so that mind becomes very nearer to Paramatman. Day will come that Atman will lose his separate existence and becomes one with Paramatman. That is the real meaning of yoga. That is the real climax of yoga. So from yoga to sanyoga, our journey will be going on. More and more yoga, there will be close sanyoga. As we discard all these touches, samsarika touches, we become very nearer to Paramatma. This is called yoga yajna. One more word I am introducing now. Now, because you know, yoga, it is more and more now very much distorted. They are branded now. Yoga is branded. Yoga is now, it is branded by many unwanted negativities. Yoga, that is the gift of great rishis. Rishis of this great land, Bharat, they gifted this for our Atmodhara. Atmodhara of all Manava Koti. That is the Atmodhara Marga of Samasta Manava Koti. That is yoga. Now you can't limit to any organization, limiting to some personalities, limiting this type of universal phenomenon, gift of great rishis of this land, some institution, some organization, some personalities. Very bad. It will be a pain to yoga. That is how now it is distorted. Krishna uses this yoga yajna word in Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 types of yajnas. O Arjuna, please understand. Dravya-yajnaha, tapo-yajnaha, yoga-yajnaha, tathapare, swadhyaya-jnana-yajnascha, yatayaha, samshrita-vrataha. Samshrita-vrataha yatayaha. Those who are so much disciplined, those who follow very much structured woe in their life, vrata they follow. They have their own systematic way of life with proper understanding. Such great Mahatmas, they perform 5 yajnas. Dravya-yajna. What is Dravya-yajna? It is Devatodeshyena Dravya-tyagaha. Now performing yajna, we pour all those auspicious things, nature-friendly, just like Goghrita, Palasha Samit, those medicinal plants, all these things we put, we offer in that sanctified fire. That Agnau Prastahuti Samyag Adityam Upatishtade, that smoke produced there, it goes to Antariksha. There clouds are formed so that gives water, pours water to this earth, so that again there will be emergence of good plants, and that again goes to the Antariksha. That is how Antariksha and Prithvi, these 2, earth and atmosphere, they will be hand in hand, supporting each other. That is how this yajna takes place. Kalidasa says, Dudoha gamsa yajnaya sasyaya maghavadivam sampad vinimayena ubhau dadhatur bhuvana dvayam. He was explaining the greatness of emperors of solar dynasty, where Raghu, Dilipa, Bhagiratha, Sagara and all these emperors, they take birth. Ultimately Rama takes birth in that dynasty. He tells about the kings of that dynasty, how they were eco-friendly. They were performing this type of yajna so that Antariksha was purified. It is free from contamination, because every day they perform Agnihotra. Every day, every Amamasya Purnima, they perform Ishti. All Somayagas are performed. It is called Dravya-yajna. So, Antariksha is pure. That is how these kings, who are emperors of this earth, they help enrichment of Antariksha. There Indra, god of rain and cloud formation, he gives water to this earth, facilitating green atmosphere, emergence of all medicinal plants. That is how Indra helps this earth. So, emperors of this earth, they help enrichment of Antariksha. Gods of Antariksha, they enrich this earth. That is how Sampad Vinimaya, exchange of wealth, they Dadhatur Bhuvanadvayam, always they maintain that eco-balance. This is the real secret of eco-balance. That means human beings and gods working in hand and facilitating eco-balance. Now we talk of so much. This is called yajna. This is the real understanding of yajna. This yajna and whatever yoga we talk here, they are not different. That is why yoga yajna he tells. Dravya-yajna, tapo-yajna, yoga-yajna, swadhyaya-yajna, jnana-yajna. That is how 5 yajnas we have to perform. That is how we prosper. That is how we can facilitate prosperity everywhere in all directions. That is the real thought embedded in our Rigveda and so many other Vedangas. The same thing it is called out in the Bhagavad Gita. That same essence is extracted from the Vedic source in the Bhagavad Gita. Om Tat Sat.